has Hong Kong lost its luster? Is its future not as strong as it once was? Is it just another Chinese city, as a senior European based in China once quipped to me?
I would say Hong Kong has not lost its luster. Hong Kong has been through many crises, many challenges, even before the Asian crisis, and it's always come through okay. I think the problem we've got is preconceived notions of what Hong Kong is like now, and we have those notions about not only Hong Kong but all sorts of countries, and vice versa. People overseas have preconceived notions about Australia. And it's not until you get there and visit it and really understand it that you understand Hong Kong is still resilient. Yes, it has its challenges like everybody else, but it's still one of the greatest international financial centres in the world. And there's no dispute about that. I think the recent rankings demonstrate sort of Hong Kong's resilience, Hong Kong's leadership in the financial arena. It's very unique. It's got the one country, two systems, and that, I think, people dismiss these days, but actually it's in place, it operates. It's got its own legal system, its own administration. It has foreign judges on its court systems, its own policing, all the things that the rest of China doesn't have. Sure, it doesn't administer its own defence and foreign affairs, but that didn't happen during colonial rule.
No, it didn't.
So Hong Kong is still Hong Kong. That one country, two systems is still in existence. There's a lot of discussion around the whole national security law. Now that's changed Hong Kong forever. Well, I would argue that every country, to a certain degree, has a national security law. So
I think that's correct.
Why should Hong Kong be singled out because that is now subject to a national security law? All countries do. Australia does, the UK does.
Is the argument, though, that it's a national security law administered by China, I think would be the argument, right?
Well, a lot of the decisions in the court systems that oversee the national security law are all administered through the Hong Kong court system. Yes, it's something that's overseen at a national level, but again, I'd come back to the fact that Hong Kong, yes, it doesn't oversee its defence and foreign affairs, but put aside that, everything else about Hong Kong, they manage themselves, the one country, two systems. It's paramount and it's important and it works. I still believe, if you look at the commercial judgments in the court systems in Hong Kong, they're some of the best in the world. They're experienced, and that's why people continue to have faith in Hong Kong and its legal system.
But I think that's the main point, right? The commercial legal system in Hong Kong is extremely strong, right? So if you do have a dispute, people still go to Hong Kong for mediation.
Correct.
They choose to do mediation services in Hong Kong under that law. Why do they do that even now? It is because of the one country, two systems, which I agree with you is dismissed immediately. And I think the Western perception of it is that somehow Hong Kong was okay under a colonial administration and not okay under a Chinese administration. And that, of course, is influenced by geopolitics, right?
Correct, that's right.
And I think that hurts the city because of that.
And if you look at Hong Kong, just look at everything that Hong Kong has not only achieved, but the influence that Hong Kong has had either directly and indirectly on the rest of the world. I argue that if you look at China's manufacturing, base now, particularly in the Guangdong region. Hong Kong companies started to move up and set up their operations there and really turn Guangdong, Shenzhen into a manufacturing powerhouse. That's not to detract from the fact that those in the mainland have taken it and
run with it.
run with it. But Hong Kong businesses, Hong Kong leaders, Hong Kong business people have really driven a huge amount of the manufacturing base that is China these days. And with that, that's extended out to the rest of the world.
But I also think the entrepreneurship or the enterprise of the Hong Kong Chinese is what really allowed the rest of Canton to sort of happen, right? Like,
Correct.
because the industrialists in Hong Kong who, let's not forget, the story, the Lee Kuan Yew story of Singapore is, he took a rock and turned it into this amazing city. And Singapore is a wonderful city, right? But actually the story of Hong Kong is not different. I mean, the story of Hong Kong is one of a fishing village that grew into, an opportunity of enterprise and became a gateway to Asia, right? And that is the story of Hong Kong. But that is also the story of Guangdong, which is we ran out of land in Hong Kong. So why not develop what's next door to us? The same cultural characteristics in the Canton region, the same language, the same opportunity, only separated by a border, right?
And now that border, it's so easy to get from Hong Kong into Shenzhen. The whole Greater Bay Area is a big differentiator for Hong Kong. And that's what, for companies not only operating in that region but overseas, that's what makes Hong Kong so unique, so different, so attractive, that you're literally coming to Hong Kong and you get access to 90 million people on your doorstep. And it's so easy to get across and do business.
Even us Gwelos can go there without a visa now, right?
Correct.
Like we
That's
can go
right.
very regular.
Exactly.